guys?
The elephants.
The elephants. Marie, thank you for raising your hand.
These are the elephants. They've probably been back there for a while.
That's right. They just got back from Tulsa. These are the elephants at the Oklahoma City Zoo. Who knows their names? Who knows their names? Listen to my question. Yes, Bailey. Asha and Chandra. Very good. Who made it to the medieval fair this weekend? Whoa, that's awesome. Who got to ride the elephant? Really? Wow. A whole bunch of you. Awesome. Oh, very good. Okay, hands down. Hands down. Today, I thought we'd read about elephants. How does that sound? All right. But first, I want to talk to you about something. And what I wanted to talk to you about was synthesis. Have you heard of that word before? Synthesis, try it out. Synthesis. What is synthesis? Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that this morning. First of all, I'm going to shift gears a little bit. We were talking about elephants just a second ago. Now we're going to talk about cakes. Raise your hand if you've ever baked a cake. Oh, great. Okay. Okay. So tell me, what are the ingredients you need to bake a cake? Angel.
Eggs.
Eggs. And what else? Larissa.
Milk.
Milk.
Are you drawing with pictures? I guess, yeah.
I'm drawing the ingredients. Alex.
Flour.
Flour, yeah.
Make it say flour.
What else? Jackson.
Butter.
Butter.
I love butter.
What else? What else do you need to make a cake? Yes.
It's making batter.
Well, before you get the batter, you need to add all of your ingredients. Catherine.
Sugar.
Sugar? Do we have that? No. Very important.
What?
Okie dokie. Anything else? London.
Brown sugar.
Brown sugar, sometimes, depending on your recipe. London, what else? Well, that we put on the cake once it's done, but before we bake the cake, what do we need to add to the batter? Or to our bowl of ingredients? Olivia. Cinnamon. Okay, sure. Depending on your... Cinnamon. Cinnamon. Okay, and if you mix your eggs and you mix your flour and you mix your milk and butter and sugar and cinnamon all together and put it in the oven, what do you get?
Cake.
Marie.
Cake.
You get cake.
But that's not all the ingredients. That's just a few. A birthday cake.
You get a cake.
A birthday cake.
Who remembers that big word I introduced to you just a few minutes ago? Angel. Close. Close. Hayden. Synthesis. That's right. Well, I brought all of this up to show you basically what synthesis is. Your cake is the synthesis of all of your ingredients, okay? If you take all of your ingredients and mix them together, you get cake. Well, when we synthesize books, what we basically do is take all the facts and all the information that the author provides us with, and we come up with his or her big idea, okay? The author's big idea is basically the synthesis of the book. right? Today, I'm going to share Grandma Elephant's in Charge with you. We're going to listen for the facts and the information in the book and see if we can synthesize the book and figure out the author's big idea. Alex, do you have a question before we begin?
Why not this was after our baby going to do a little project with
Well, Alex, we're not going to have time for that today. But if you want to do a little something on your own, you are more than welcome to do that.
Are we going to check out today?
We should have time for that.
Grandma's the Blair.
I know. Very good.
There's a rib. I saw a rib.
This is Grandma Elephant's in Charge. The author of this book is Martin Jenkins, and this book is illustrated by Ivan Bates. What do we have here? Elephants. What do we call a big group of elephants like this? A herd. Grandma Elephant's in Charge. Most elephants live in families, and most elephant families are big, just like elephants. Elephants are the biggest land animals of all. A big male can weigh more than 6 tons, as much as 100 people. There are facts sort of interspersed throughout this book, aside from the main text. I'm just going to read the main text to you right now. Then we're going to see if we can come up with the author's big idea. And then if we have time, I'll go back and share these facts with you. Jackson, I need you facing forward, please. There'll probably be 2 or 3 babies forever playing Push Me, Pull You, or Peekaboo, or anything else that makes a lot of noise. And each of the babies might have an older brother or sister, handy for playing King of the Mountain on. And then there are the moms. They take care of their own babies and help with one another's too, keeping an eye on them to make sure they don't wander off and scolding them when they get too boisterous. But that's not all. The most important member of an elephant family is... Anybody want to make a prediction here? Grandma.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Grandma's been around a long time, and she knows a lot of important things. She knows where the water holes are when it hasn't rained, and the easiest places to cross the big river when it has rained. She knows where to find the juiciest melons, and knows the best path up the cliff to the salt lick. It's not surprising that she's the one in charge.
It looks like a mint.
She doesn't make a big song and dance about it, though. Just to flick up the ear. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. She doesn't make a big song and dance about it, though. Just to flick up the ear or a snort or two and a rumble, rumble, rumble deep down in her throat seemed to be enough to tell all the elephants what to do. If she stops, they all stop. If she moves, they all move. And if there's any sign of danger, you can be sure she'll be the first one to investigate and the first one to decide what the family shall do.
I do.
They might all run away, or they might take a stand. Or Grandma might charge. If she charges with her head up and ears flapping, waving her trunk and making a great hullabaloo, then she's probably bluffing. Do you guys know what bluffing means?
Yes.
Yeah? Who wants to tell us what bluffing means?
It's a little joke. It's like bluffing is a little bluff.
Sort of. Marie, did you have another definition of bluffing?
Kind of like when your teeth are red.
Oh, that's blushing. Blushing. Bluffing is like, if somebody said to you, if you don't do this, then I'm going to.
Like threatening.
Yeah, it's sort of like, it could sort of be like threatening, but an empty threat. It's like when somebody threatens you.
And they really don't do it.
That's right. They really don't, not only not do it, but have no intention of doing it. They have no plans of doing it. That's one definition. Or Grandma might charge. If she charges with her head up and ears flapping, waving her trunk and making a great hullabaloo, and she's probably bluffing. But if her head's down and her trunk's tucked under and she's not making any noise, then she means business. In that case, whoever it is that has annoyed her had better watch out. And once the commotion's over, everyone can settle back down to feeding and snoozing and messing around, knowing that Grandma has sorted things out. Alex?
Actually, whenever it said, whenever the grandma elephant tucks her head down and her trunk is almost like this, the trunk only has almost like 100 muscles in the trunk, and that is very strong.
Yes. So, if you're an elephant, there's one thing you should never forget. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, Grandma's in charge. Okay. Now, I shared this book with you so that we could synthesize it and practice synthesizing it. Let's talk about some of the ideas and some of the facts that we read about in this book. Okay. So, just like there are ingredients that go into baking a cake, there are facts that go into a nonfiction book. Let's talk about some of those facts now, okay? London.
Which one did?
Well, that was something that Alex shared, but we're talking about facts from the book, okay? Larissa. Okie dokie.
I'm wondering if that can turn to adults and children.
Okay. We probably have to do a little bit of research to get an answer to that question.
And they wouldn't count me in that. I'm 42 pounds. I'm useless.
Okay, so an elephant can weigh as much as 100 people. Okay. Angel.
That grandma's always in charge.
Grandma's always in charge. Okay, very good. That's probably the author's big idea. Okay? Let's see, or maybe we can talk about some of the facts that the author shared about grandmas that help support this idea. Okay? Do you think the fact that elephants can weigh as much as 100 people supports the idea that grandma is in charge?
Yeah.
No? Yeah? No? Okay. Let's back up a little bit then.
You don't have to press press the eraser. All you have to do is press the little button. There's a button on it, and if you press the top of it, it'll erase. That's the bottom.
Okay, here we go.
X.
Okay, so we are going to be focusing on the facts from the book that support the idea that Grandma's in charge. Okay, so what do we know about Grandma, and how does that support the idea that she's in charge, or the fact that she's in charge? Paula?
Mama's in charge. She knows where the juiciest water.
Excellent. Grandma knows where to find the juiciest melons. I'm going to abbreviate with G for Grandma, okay? Grandma knows where to find the juiciest melons. Okay, very good. What else do we know about Grandma based on this book? And how does it support the idea that she's in charge? Yeah.
Grandma knows when danger is there.
Danger. Excellent. Grandma can sense danger. And what does she do, or how does she help the family when they are faced with danger? And, oh, hold on. Marie.
Here's one thing. Whenever she moves, they all move. Whenever she stops, they all stop.
Okay, very good. Hold that thought. Okay. How does Grandma help the family when they're faced with danger? Larissa? Yeah, go ahead. London? Okay, listen to my question, London. How does Grandma help the family when they're faced with danger? Olivia? She might bluff, or she might
Attack.
attack.
Sure. Or put her trunk in. That means she's
Okay, very good. Now, Marie, you had mentioned a good one. What was that?
Whenever they do what she does.
Ah, okay. So, when Grandma stops, they stop, okay?
When I stop, I stop.
And London, you also had a good one. What did you say? Okay. All right. So, we read that Grandma knows where to find the juiciest melons. That was your fact, right, Paula? We know that Grandma is really good at sensing danger. And when the family is faced with danger, it's Grandma who takes charge. She might bluff. That's right, Alex. Or she might take a more aggressive stance. And Marie, I think it was you who said when Grandma stops, the whole herd stops. Also, London, you mentioned that Grandma knows where to find water when it hasn't rained, and when it has rained, she knows how to help the family across the rivers and whatnot. Okay, so if we blend all of these facts together, like we blended our ingredients together, what do we get? What's the big idea, Angel? What's the big idea? If we take all of these facts about Grandma, we blend them together like we blended the ingredients that went into our cake, what do we get? You said it earlier. Grandma's in charge. Grandma's in charge, yeah. All right, Grandma's in charge. This is the synthesis, okay? Or we've synthesized the facts in this book to come up with this big idea. And Flora, that's exactly what you should do whenever you read a nonfiction book, okay? As you come across facts facts and information in the book, you kind of want to think about what the author's intention is. What is the big idea that the author wants you to know about his or her subjects? Okay? You got that? All right. I said if we had time, we'd go back and read some more about elephants. So that is exactly what we're going to do, because it looks like we do have a few more minutes before checkout. Here we go. Elephant mothers have only one baby at a time. They give birth every 3 or 4 years. Elephants don't become fully grown until they're 10 years old or more. Does that surprise you guys?
Yes. I wish I was an elephant.
You wish you were an elephant?
When I was 10.
The mothers in the herd are usually sisters. Adult male elephants don't normally stay with the family. Instead, they roam around by themselves or with other males. That's kind of interesting, isn't it?
They don't hang out like they don't have ladies. They don't have ladies.
That's right. Yeah. They just hang out with the guys.
That's right.
Flora, I need you to stop talking, please. Paula, it says here that elephants can live for up to 65 years. But don't usually have any more babies once they're older than 50 or so. Oh, yeah.
What is that? A little camera.
That's a camera. We're being videotaped right now.
Is that a camera?
Wow. 65 years old, that's a pretty long time, isn't it? Yeah. Jackson?
Is that a flip camera?
We're talking about elephants right now, Jackson. London, yes. Wow. Do people have longer, London said her grandmother, your grandmother? Your great-grandmother is 96 years old. Who do you think has a longer lifespan? Or what do you think has a longer lifespan? Humans or elephants?
Humans.
Yeah. Listen, this is interesting. Right now, humans do have a longer lifespan than elephants. But what's interesting is that our lifespan has actually grown over time. 100 years ago, people lived much shorter lifespans. Isn't that interesting? 100 years ago, very few people made it into their 90s.
Guess what? My grandma, she stayed alive for 99 years.
Wow, that's a long time. What a lucky lady she was.
Yeah, she would have been 99 if she had another birthday.
Wow. Listen to this. It says here that elephants move around a lot. It's important for them to have good memories so the family doesn't get lost when they return to places that they haven't visited for a long time. Alex.
I watched a show.
Is this about elephants?
Yes,
Yeah.
and it was called Killer Elephants, and you know those African elephants?
Because there are 2 kinds of elephants, African elephants and Asian elephants.
Well, the guys that done the elephant time where they was like get meat from it and
Okay.
remain.
Okay. Elephants are very fond of things like melons, but feed mainly on grass. Does that surprise you guys? Elephants get that big by eating mostly grass? That surprised me.
That doesn't surprise me.
Doesn't surprise you? But listen to how much grass they eat. Adults eat about 1.5 tons of food each day. Whoa!
That'd be good to eat. Doesn't surprise me.
Salt licks. Here, boys and girls. I need you to keep our champs, Jackson and Flora, I need you to keep our champs in mind, okay? Salt licks are places where the earth is full of minerals. Lots of animals eat the salty earth there, which helps to keep them healthy. And we heard that grandma might charge when faced with danger. How fast do you think elephants can run?
30 miles per hour.
Raise your hand, please. Billy.
30 miles per hour.
Good guess. charging elephant can run 25 miles an hour. That's faster than the fastest human being. Interesting. Alright. Here's a little bit more. It says here that there are two kinds of living elephants. The elephants in this book are, what kind of elephants do you think they are?
African.
They are. Yep. The elephants in this book are African elephants. The other kind are Asian elephants, which live in South and Southeast Asia. Who knows what kind of elephants Asha and Chandra at the zoo are? Olivia? Good guess. They're Asian elephants. And one way the zoo tries to help you remember that is that it built buildings and whatnot surrounding the elephant exhibit to look like the kinds of buildings you might see in Asia.
Like the waterfall there?
If you notice, we could take a look at some of these types of buildings next time if you want. But if you noticed, a lot of the buildings are made out of bamboo, and they have these sort of arched roofs, and that's very typical of the kind of architecture you see in Asia. Elephants were once found almost everywhere in Africa, but now they've disappeared from many of the places where they used to live. What do you think this is? Alex?
It's almost like killing an elephant.
Because people hunt them, that's
Yeah,
right.
Just to get meat from them.
That's right.
One of the villages.
Okay, hold that thought. Larissa, what do you know? Other reasons? Yes. That's true. Yeah. People still do it though, unfortunately. Marie, what do you think the other reason why elephants are only found in some parts of Africa are?
Because they're endangered.
Well, they are, and why do you suppose that's true? One of the reasons is that people hunt them. Can anybody come up with the second reason? Paula? I'll give you a hint. It has to do with their habitat.
Because of the tigers and cats and
Yep, good guess, good guess. The second reason is that people have taken their land for farming. So the elephants have less land in which to live now. 20 years ago, there were more than 1 million African elephants. Now, there may be only half that number. 500,000, yeah. Interesting, isn't it? Interesting. Hey guys, if you wanted to find some more information about elephants or check out a book about elephants, which section of the library would you go to? Nonfiction, but remember we talked about the Dewey Decimal System? Which address or neighborhood would you go to? Alex?
Zebra.
You would look for the zebra label, that's right, which is in the 500s. Fantastic.